I am so sorry that I can't be with you for your 68th anniversary. How proud you must be of all the good work you have done. And I am so proud to know you, and I look forward to continuing to work together. And you could be sure that if I were not in Washington fighting for you and all men and women with disabilities, I would be there tonight.
Now, the first question I have for you is regarding Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. And recently, as we know, Congress has created a new plan that will reduce our ability to obtain medical care. And if the bill passes through the Senate, it will basically segregate people with disabilities into risk pools. These risk pool services that we were once entitled to shall be tarnished, and because of this, men, women, and children will be harmed. Some can even die. With this being said, what new approaches can we take to effectively assert ourselves? What can we do to help you make sure that we get the benefits that we, not as Americans, but as human beings, deserve?
Thank you for that very important question. First of all, the Health Care Act that was passed in the House of Representatives is dead on arrival in the Senate. The Senate, I am assuming, and I hope, will give some thoughtful concern to all the issues that you bring up today. And it is my hope that there can be bipartisan cooperation because there are so many people with disabilities that depend on the services now of the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, whatever you choose to call it, that I'm hoping that we can work together to improve Obamacare, improve the various laws that affect everything you do. So I tend to be an optimist. The bill in the House is going nowhere, and I assure you that members of the House and the Senate understand how important the laws are to protect your health care and your rights as a person with disabilities.
Social Security is being targeted because, and uh, the Congress, the Congress needs to know that there is a balanced budget and emergency deficit and control act of 1985 that removes Social Security from the general funding budget and ensures that these funds are not violated for the purpose of balancing the federal budget. Despite this law, some congressional representatives continue to create concern for our citizens and people with disabilities. And so they worry about Social Security. People with disabilities also depend upon the Social Security system for housing and living, I mean, the living resources. What do we do to tell our representatives so that they understand the importance of this system and the trust that our Social Security system provides? What do we tell self-advocates?
I am so glad that you brought up the issue of Social Security. Social Security is a bond between the people and the government, the people with disabilities or seniors without disabilities. I know firsthand because I talk to people with disabilities, I visit seniors on a regular basis, and I can assure you that it's not just Nita Lowey, but many of my colleagues are sending a strong message that we will not touch Social Security. We understand how important it is for people with disabilities, and all seniors are depending on Social Security for their bright future.
We, being Americans with disabilities, we are protected by law to enjoy the same things as individuals without disabilities. There are laws in federal provisions that give us the ability to try to live everyday lives as equitable to everyone else as possible. These things include working within the community. Yet the second is having a fair and equal education. And the third, and most importantly, is having an overall lifestyle that is equitable to those without disabilities. Very important. Due to recent events in Washington, as we all know, we as disabled Americans who love this country know differently than anyone else. Anyone else. Should we be concerned about these rights and privileges that I have just mentioned being taken back or revoked from us completely?
I want to thank you for that very meaningful question. And the first suggestion I would have in response is make sure that everyone you know with disabilities and everyone you know without disabilities goes to vote. The fact that the President of the United States shows so little respect for a whole range of people who are struggling to succeed in the United States of America is truly an embarrassment to me. But I can assure you that as a member of Congress, working with my colleagues, we will not let this president deny anyone the rights they gained under the Americans with Disabilities Act, Social Security, Medicaid, and all the programs that help improve the life that you have and many of your friends and neighbors have. So you have to get out to vote and make sure everyone expresses their views, and I'm going back to Washington to continue to fight.
Thank you.
Ms. Lowey, many representatives in Washington, including the Secretary of Education, do not understand the importance of the special education students with disabilities to be members of society. The federal education funding for the states has never reached the level that it was intended to. Now the Secretary of Education is considering changing the current system with the proposal of charter schools and vouchers, which could further reduce the availability for special education. How do we inform Congress to consider this carefully?
I would like to assure you that my Democratic colleagues and some thoughtful Republicans will continue to fight for IDEA. It should be getting 40%. It is no more than about 20% now. And this has always been a bipartisan issue. It's unfortunate that DeVos doesn't understand it. I'm hoping in her short time as Secretary of Education, she will get an education. And people with disabilities throughout the country, whether they are here in New York or they're in California or any place in between, will educate her and help her understand how important IDEA is. As I mentioned, it does not receive adequate funding now, and to cut it even further would be a disgrace. So I'm going back to Washington to make sure that IDEA is increased, and as the ranking Democrat on Appropriations Committee, I can assure you we're going to be successful. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get it to the level that you and I would like to see it, but we're going to work hard to protect the community and all the needs that are so essential. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some thoughts with all of you. And I know as you hear remarks from President Trump and some of his cabinet people, there's a great deal of concern in the community. But there is enough of us who really understand right from wrong, know how important the community is, know how important ARC is, know how important the services you provide are, and we're going to fight and just make sure everyone you know gets out to vote in the next election for people who truly understand the concerns that you have. And I know you have great concerns for all people in the United States of America. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.